If you have a small team, you want to listen to this training because I am going to be sharing with you why you not having proper technology is holding your team's communication back, and it is keeping you from the success and the peace and the organization that you want and crave in your business. If we haven't had the chance to meet yet, I'm Jamie Gruhl, and after helping over 500 tax and accounting practices implement automation with TaxDome, I can confidently say that automation is the only way to increase your profit and time freedom in your practice. And I'm sharing this with you from the perspective of a consultant who has worked with a lot of small practices with teams. And the old way of working was that practices were built and kind of things were piecemeal together. The teams were brought on when demand needed it, and you had so many clients that you needed to serve. You brought somebody in, you dropped them into the existing processes and the existing systems that you have, and you just got the work done, right? That is how a lot of small businesses operate. So if you're feeling that, you're like, yes, that's me. You are not alone. I have done that myself. And one thing that I have found is that there is a level of responsibility that we have as a business owner to give our team the proper tools and systems and expectations on how to use those tools that really make or break the business, right? I saw a friend post the other day, and she's somebody who struggles with technology, and she's not an accountant or a tax professional. She actually is a financial professional, so she comes from like the financial advisor background. And she was sharing that one of her biggest challenges is technology, and she feels like it's holding her back in her business. And you may be feeling that same way too, because when we don't have proper technology and operations and systems set up in our small businesses, it breaks down a lot of things in our businesses that keep us from being efficient. And that holds us back in several ways. One is financially. Revenue does not happen as easily when we don't have the proper systems to support our teams. The other is that the culture of a business is really hinges on the way in which we are able to give our tools, or excuse me, our team the tools and systems that they need in order to do the work. Because if they have efficient workflows and they have ways of getting the work done, it allows for more cultural development and more advancement in their positions, more skills, increase in skills and learning. And when we are just taking the old way of doing things, whether it's paper or piecemeal systems or inefficiencies, and we just throw somebody into that, they're just doing everything they can to just get the work done. And when we go in and we actually look at how we can implement systems and operations and improve those and optimize those, we actually start getting time back because people are not spending their time doing manual work. And that is something that I wanted you to think about. The other thing that came up for me today that I was thinking about in regards to this topic is that if you are a practice owner and you've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, one of the things you need to think about is that the younger generations coming in don't want to work in environments that are inefficient, chaotic, disorganized. And they may come in all excited and good energy, and you're so excited about them, and they're like all in and they want to work with you and they want to, like, they see the vision. But when they get in there and they actually start doing the work, inefficient processes and systems and not having technology that allows them to do the work well is going to drain them, and they will be out. 3 to 6 months, they will be gone, and you will have put all of this energy into these people, and you will have them leave. So I want to plant the seed in your brain today that you should think about, instead of investing into more team, you should think about investing into the team that you have by giving them the tools that are going to allow them to do the work right. This is going to improve your team communications. It's going to improve your team morale, and it's going to improve your business success. And I want to show you today several features of TaxDome that we love and how they can improve your team's communication, allowing everyone to know exactly what they should be working on, when they should be working on it, and also allow them to ask questions amongst each other to make sure that they have the information they need right at the fingertips. And I want to show you how this can be put into your practice as well. Okay. So my goal with today's training is to help you see more, better, and potential for you and your business. So if we haven't met, I'm Jamie Gruhl, and I have helped over 800 practices implement TaxDome for more efficiency, more organization, more peace in their businesses. And today's training is going to be the core of the team environment. And if you are a small business owner right now, and I shouldn't say small business, but if you are a small practice owner right now, hiring is difficult. So let's make sure that we are making our teams that we have most efficient. If you're a solo practitioner and you're looking to bring in a team in the future, this is for you too, because you should be thinking about these things now if you're planning on hiring for next tax season or over the next 9 to 12 months. You should be thinking about the systems right now that are going to make you most successful at doing that in the future, whether it's a part-time administrative assistant or a whole slew of technical skilled folks that are going to help you with service delivery. It doesn't matter. Team communication is essential at whatever size you are. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. Let me drag this over here and get this out of the way. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to look at TaxDome for a minute. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is that when you're thinking about your team, you need to be thinking about the way in which you are delivering to your team the work that they need to do. And one of the things the TaxDome is excellent at is task assignment. And what I wanted to share with you today is I'm looking at our tax prep signature pipeline, and this is made up of lots of automations, lots of ways of delivering to clients and your business clients, your individual clients, your paper clients. It's all in this one pipeline. But what this pipeline also does is it allows for the delivery of tasks. And tasks in TaxDome are the assignment out of work that needs to be completed. And one of these is an example of after we've taken our client through the onboarding process and I have them in this ready to review stage. This means that I've gotten their documents, gotten all the information on their tax year. I've gotten at this point a signed engagement letter, a paid minimum fee deposit. All of the pieces of my onboarding have been completed, and it's time for me now to take action. But I don't want to be sitting around every day having to go in to look at my pipeline and make sure that I'm assigning out tasks and being like, hey, Sally, it's time for you to go take action. No, we want the system to take some of this burden off our shoulders and go and tell our team member or even ourselves, hey, this has been done. It's now time for you to go take action. And TaxDome does this really well. It is a task management assignment that is automated. And so the way that pipelines are set up, we're able to say, okay, in this step in the process, I want for this specific person to go and do the review of documents that we just received, make sure they're solid. This could be an administrative type assistant or an operations manager, but they're going to review all the documents and make sure that you have everything. And if they're missing something, they're going to follow up on them. But what we can do is we can assign this task out. So you can see here we have this task. Now, what I wanted to share with you is that when we're looking at what we put in these tasks, one of the things that I believe we should be doing is that we need to make sure that we're telling our team members what to do. We need standard operating procedures. If you have heard of SOPs, those are often long drawn documents that hold all the steps of all the things that are happening. I believe those are very valuable and they're very important in a process, like documenting your process, but your team doesn't have time to go and read a long document and make sure that all these pieces are moving. What I believe should happen is that the tasks that we're assigning out to our team members should actually contain the SOP of that task. And I'm going to just pull up this template. Actually, let me do it this way. I'm going to go into my workflow and into my pipeline, and I'm going to go into my pipeline. I'm just going to add a job in here real quick. And we're going to go into ready to review. I'm going to do Acorn Craft, and I'm just going to drop this job in here so we can just look at it in real time. Move. All right. So now here's my job, and this task has been assigned out to myself. So I am the assignee in my task template, and that means that every time this task is created by the job moving down the pipeline, it's going to go to me. There are several ways in TaxDome that you can assign things out. You can have it be signed up by the job assignee, which is a really great feature. You can have it be assigned out. You can have a reassignment. You can be manually assigning things out. You can manually reassign things. There's lots of ways you can do it. But in this case, I'm always the one that's going to be reviewing that task. So like I said, SOPs are the game changer in your task documents. And so what this does is it allows me in the description to make sure that I'm always setting the expectation of what does this process and step of the process look like. It's at my team's fingertips, so they never have an excuse as to why did this not get done and have the file name the way that I want it? Why did this not get done by reviewing our rubric of how you're going to review these documents? And if something is missing, this is what you're going to do next. Why is this not get done? That goes back to training and or the team member and or holding them accountable, right? And so having our SOPs built into our templates is essential. The cool thing about what we have done is in our pipeline templates, the signature templates we have in any template that we create, honestly, is we have them all baked in here. And it includes steps on how to do this in TaxDome so that if you have somebody new, my goal is for you and your goal for yourself should be, I'm giving this person 80, 85% of exactly how I want this done. That's your like B plus, like we're getting it done enough. And then the like refinement can come in that last 10 or 15%. But it allows for them to know what they need to do and be able to carry out and learn as they're going through it if they're a new team member. They're not left, okay, so what does it mean to review documents here? No, we've got everything right there so they can be successful from the get-go. All right, so that is the first one. There are several places that tasks get assigned out. So when an assignment does come to me that a task is due, it will go into my inbox plus. You'll see here's my task that was assigned to me. Your team members can choose how they work in their TaxDome system. There is 7 ways to do this. I will call out a couple. One is the inbox plus. It's always like information hub central for things that are happening in TaxDome. The insights is a place where they can see it. They can go into the workflows and see a full task list if they like a checklist to work from. They can see exactly in the pipeline that this job is here and the only person that's responsible for that step of the process is the person that has received that task. And so there's lots of ways that you can see where this work is due and who's responsible for it. The other thing that having these tasks assignments go out automatically is for you, the manager, you're easily able to pop into the task list and look at your individual employees and see what they have on their plate. What are they responsible for? TaxDome is in the process of rolling out a capacity planning pipeline or tool within the TaxDome system. I'm in beta with that right now. We're looking at that and I'm excited to see how that works because it's going to really allow for more comprehensive view of who has availability and bandwidth to take on work. And that will make for management and capacity planning on your team so much easier. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is email sync. So one of the other challenges that we often hear from a lot of our clients is I'm getting all these emails and I'm getting the information, but my tax preparer is not getting the information. So therefore, they're going and preparing the return. And a client sent me a very important note about their information and their tax year, and it didn't get to the preparer. So we're now having to double touch everything. And it just causes, there's a breakdown of information. Information is siloing into people's email inboxes. TaxDome can break that down by using the email sync functionality. And what the email sync functionality does is it does not mean that you have to manage your emails in your TaxDome system. No, this is just merely a resource and a reference point for your team in the TaxDome account. So if I go into a client account here, there is the email tab. I would actually see if it was set up in a normal situation. Mine is not because it's a test scenario. So what TaxDome does is it actually, for every user that gets set up and has email sync turned on, you can actually mirror their email inbox into the TaxDome client account. Now, how does it do that? If I go over to the info tab, this account, Andy and Kim Bernard, I have 2 contacts. I have 3 email addresses. And so what TaxDome does is if I have email sync turned on for any of these email addresses, TaxDome is actually going to look into the email inbox and it's going to say, if I see an email for Test Andy and Test Kim, and I see any of these 3 email addresses, I'm going to show those emails in the email section of TaxDome. So it just gives you another reference point of client information that could potentially get missed because it was in somebody else's inbox and you didn't know about it as you were preparing a return. It went to the admin, it went to the other tax preparer, it went to your partner. Doesn't matter, it goes in here. And that opens up the communication channels for you and your team and reduces the need to go and hunt down information and or have clients say, I sent this to Joe and you didn't know, right? So that is huge. The third one that I want to talk about is at mentions. So at mentions in TaxDome are the current method in how you can basically like tag a teammate into a situation or a communication. There are several places that you can do this. One is in your client notes. So I'm in a client account here. We have these note sections where we can take details on a client. And if I'm one use case could be like you have your admins, if somebody calls in and has a note for someone else on the team, you could potentially have this be a place where they take their phone calls and their phone notes. And it could be that they are going to tag a teammate and they're going to say, Kim called and she is seeking more details on your tax planning services, right? How would you like me to proceed? And by at mentioning this, and I tagged myself in this, I'm going to save this. And this is actually going to be a note that is now in the account. And I am going to, in my inbox plus, get a notice that I was mentioned in a note here on Kim and Andy's account. And it drops this here, and I can either click this go to or archive it if it's just an FYI, depending on what my needs are and what the request is. So that is how at mentions can be really effective. Now, places that you can use at mentions, one is in our pipeline. So if I go back to my pipeline here and in the pipeline itself or the job itself, I can go to my job, and in the comment section of my job, I can use at mentions here, and I could ask for, say, management to step in and answer a question as a tax preparer. I want to ask my reviewer to help me with this specific thing. I could call them in here, and it's going to send them a note into their inbox plus with a link directly to this job so they can see what I'm talking about in this job. The other thing that you can do is in a task, in the description, currently, we can use at mentions here. You currently, right now, cannot use them in the comment section of jobs. That is something that is coming. But if you needed to have somebody have a communication or tag somebody in the description of a task, you can at mention someone there. So that is available. The third place that you can at mention, or fourth place that you can at mention people, okay, back, save, that's fine, go away, save and close, discard changes, is in a chat. So if I go into, let's go into Acorn Crafts, I'm going to go into their account, and in the communication section, if I was having a conversation with someone, one thing you could do is you could have your admins managing your inbox. And if they're simple tasks or simple questions, they could be responsible for asking them. And if they're more complex, they could then at mention you, and in the task or the message itself, they could call you in and said, could you please weigh in on this client question? Or some escalation point, right? And when I do that, again, it's going to at mention me into my inbox plus, and I will be able to know that I now have a mention to go and do. So when you're thinking about how you're using TaxDome, you sometimes can't be rigid about how you've always done it. You have to think about, what am I trying to do and how can I use the tool to do this? This is something that we really excel in workflows for tax pros because we've seen so many practices and been deep in their operations, understanding that there are many ways of doing everything. And in TaxDome, because it's so customizable, we can find a solution for how you need to use the tool to make it most effective for your small team. That is the third thing that I wanted to show. So what we talked about today was the importance of, one, having technology to support your team. Investing into tools that will help them work more efficiently makes the $800 a license per team member a non-event. If you think about that, what is that? 800 divided by 50, we'll say 50, $16 a week. That is far less than the hourly rate that you were paying these people. And if you can have them work smarter and get back many hours a week and not doing administrative mundane tasks, then $16 a week is a steal to make your team more effective and more efficient. Each team member. That is my belief, is if I can give my team the tools that makes their efforts something that would be a 20-hour a week position, and I only have to pay them 10 hours a week, I then get to decide what that other 10 hours can be focused on. Is it additional projects? Is it additional training? Is it more clients? Do we want to bring on more clients? That opens up my possibilities to me and the solutions that I need to help me get to my goals in my business. So you need to start thinking about that. We talked about the fact that younger employees are going to be requiring you to have this. If you are in your 10 years into your business and you still have another 10 or 20 years to go, now is the time to be taking action on implementing technology. Get it in place before next tax season. Make life easier for you, make life more enjoyable for you for the long haul, and know that you're going to be setting yourself up for success with your team members that you currently have, but also the ones that you will bring on in the future as you continue to run your business. Think about the long game on technology. You need it to get the younger people in to potentially then sell your business to them in the long run. And then we talked about the 3 features in TaxDome that we love: automated task assignments, email syncing, and app mentions. All of these break down communication barriers, allowing you to make sure that your team, 1, understands expectation, 2, is able to call in and request information, and 3, is able to open up the communication with your clients and reduce the silos that happen with information from clients, because we can put it into the centralized tool, making it accessible to everyone. So I hope you found this training very valuable. And if you have any questions, you're curious about what TaxDome can do, please feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help you make the right decision and a confident decision about moving towards technology, and most importantly, make it easy, simple for you to implement, because that's our goal here at Workflows for Tax Pros, is to help you implement TaxDome, get back 10 hours or more a week, and make sure that you're using the tool fully to really start benefiting, to really start making a benefit of the technology in your business, your practice, and most importantly, in your life. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in our next training.